It can handle pretty much any type of headphone out there. Not only can it handle your dynamic and planar magnetic headphones, it can actually also handle electrostatic headphones, which is what makes this product unique. The other unique thing about this product is that it has both a solid state and a tube amplifier built into one, and you can switch it on the fly. You literally flip the switch here and it'll just switch over kind of like that. So you can do a lot of A/B testing, which is great. But first, let's talk about the design and build quality because at $3,700, that's a lot to ask for. I'm just looking at the build quality. This thing looks marvelous. You actually have this nice smoke glass on top, which you actually can see the circuitry inside, and you can see the nice orange glow of the tubes when the amplifier is set to tube mode. It also has a very unique design that I haven't quite seen in other amplifiers before. You see this black portion down here has all the connectivity. On the right side of it, you have the standard connections for your dynamic headphones. On the left is all dedicated for your electrostatic headphones. And the top portion, you have your controls, your dial to switch between the different inputs, as well as this volume control, which I'm kind of not a fan on because as you see, if I'm turning it, it kind of jumps around a bit and it doesn't quite land on the number you want. So sometimes I want to increase the volume by like 5, I'll put it up and it'll kind of jump forward and then back, which is really weird. I'm also not a fan of this little switch here to switch between the solid state and the tube mode. If you hit it, it kind of gets stuck sometimes and you have to give it a little push. I'm not sure if it's just this unit, but I noticed that it does get stuck, and maybe someone had it before me and they just kept going back and forth A/B testing between tube mode and solid state, and maybe it got worn out a bit. I don't know, but in general, I'm not a fan of that little switch. I would rather have a different type of switch where you can easily just set it to solid state or tube mode. I really like the design of the top portion of the amplifier and this nice round screen here. Not so much a fan of the bottom black portion. Yeah, having that black portion at the bottom and then the silver finish on top is kind of weird to me. But yeah, the way they designed this amplifier where it uses these load bias SD cards here to kind of stick in the front, and that way if you have some Stax headphones, you can just insert that SD card in the front here and it will set the correct voltage for that. And I actually got to try out the Stax SR L300s, I believe, and I will put up a video up in the right hand side, either here or here. I will also leave a link in the bottom because trying out an electrostatic headphone such as the Stax headphones at home versus at an audio show is a big difference. In an audio show, there's lots of people talking and it's hard to hear the music, and they are open back headphones. Being able to have an amplifier such as the iCAN Phantom at home while listening to electrostatic headphones was definitely a big plus. I feel very fortunate to have been able to do that. And again, I would like to thank iFi Audio for sending out the iCAN Phantom and letting me hold on to it for as long as I have. So yeah, special thanks to them. So now let's talk about the sound quality, and that's definitely gonna depend on what DAC you use with it. So here on my left is my DAC and amp that I've been using for several years now, which consists of the Denafrips Aris 2 DAC and the T-Chex AAA 789 headphone amplifier, and they've been great. And I did pair the iCAN Phantom with the Denafrips Aris 2 and it worked pretty good, but I would say that that is not the best pairing. And I realized that when I hooked up the SMSL D400 Pro here, I was just able to hear a lot more detail with this DAC versus the Denafrips Aris 2. Again, the Denafrips Aris 2 sounded good. It's an R2R ladder DAC. But in terms of detail retrieval and hearing those nice little details in the treble, the D400 Pro performed much better. And I especially noticed when I was playing games, I was playing Warzone, and all of a sudden I'm able to hear footsteps much better and where those footsteps were coming from. And I could actually track people behind walls much easier than I was with the Denafrips 2. So that kind of told me right there that the D400 Pro is a better DAC to use with the iCAN Phantom amplifier. But yeah, talking about the overall sound quality about the amplifier, it sounded great. Everything from the treble to the mid to the bass sounded awesome. I would say that the biggest selling point of the iCAN Phantom is the tube mode. If you are gonna buy this, it should be for the tube mode and also the electrostatic connectivity. I think for the solid state part of the amplifier, I think you find a better standalone solid state headphone amplifier for a lot less. For the tube mode, I think they have it just right. This is one of the best tube amplifiers I've heard. Now, I did not like the Tube Plus setting on this. I thought it was just like too much, but the regular tube mode is perfection, I think. But the difference between the tube mode and the solid state is if you do need to hear that little bit of more detail, for example, if you happen to be gaming on this, which I don't think you should buy it just for gaming, the solid state worked a lot better for that. And again, if you want to hear details in your music, solid state's gonna work better. But if you want that nice rich sound of the tubes. This is a good pick. And as for the electrostatic component of this amplifier, I think it performed really well. I tried it with the Stax SR-L300 and it sounded amazing. And again, I was really fortunate to listen to electrostatic headphones at home and not in an audio show. So the standouts here sound-wise are that tube amplifier and the electrostatic amplifier. Now let's talk about connectivity, because this is the bread and butter of the iCAN Phantom. It can handle, as I mentioned, any headphone out there, whether it be a dynamic headphone, planar magnetic, and more importantly, electrostatic headphones. And electrostatic energizers by themselves, I mean, the cheapest I've seen out there is maybe like 800 or 1,000. That's where a lot of the price of this, I think, comes from. You're probably not gonna find a good electrostatic energizer for anything less than like 800 or 1,000 unless you buy used. But the thing is that this does everything. So you have your unbalanced and balanced connections in the back, so you can hook up pretty much any DAC you want. And you have like 3 different types of connections for balanced headphones in the front. Your 4.4 millimeter balance, as well as your 4-pin XLR, as well as the other connections there. On the electrostatic side, you have your normal connector for electrostatic headphones, and then you have your custom/pro connector. So again, it can handle pretty much any type of electrostatic headphone out there. And also with the different SD cards, you can plug it in to match the load bias voltage of your headphones. So no problem there. So if you do already own several electrostatic headphones, instead of having the different energizers for each electrostatic headphone, you can just have this one and then just pop in the appropriate load bias card, and then you're good to go. The other thing is if you want a tube amplifier, and I would not buy this just for the solid state and electrostatic. I think if you're gonna buy this, you definitely wanna get it for that tube functionality, because that is where you can hear that sweet sound of the tubes. So yeah, there's not too many people that fall into that category of people that use both dynamic and electrostatic headphones at home. So really the only people that I see that this is ideal for are like maybe headphone reviewers out there. So if you're a headphone reviewer and you have several electrostatic headphones as well as your standard dynamic headphones, then it would make sense to get something like this, because then you have this one unit that can handle everything. You don't need multiple electrostatic energizers, and it would also give you the ability to try out different DACs. So yeah, headphone reviewers, or maybe if you're a company that goes to audio shows to demo different products, then this is good as well. But one important thing before I leave you guys is that although that the iFi iCAN is the flagship product for iFi, my brother and I actually did a lot of A/B testing with my different DAC and amps here, and we actually compared it to the iCAN Phantom. And as good as the iCAN Phantom was, the one that we ended up preferring was the Diablo 2 here. And this thing is amazing for what it is. I mean, it's a portable DAC amp. You can pretty much stick this in your backpack and take it with you on the go. So if you go on a trip, you can take this with you and enjoy your music with your, high-end headphones. And we were really surprised with the sound that came out of this. We both preferred the sound of the iFi Diablo 2. And I think that has to do with the DAC that's built into this. And that synergy between the DAC and the headphone amplifier on this is great. And let me just say that the Diablo 2 was able to power all my headphones that I own. There were no issues there in terms of power coming from the Diablo 2. So yeah, for the normal consumer, I would skip the iFi iCAN and just get yourself the iFi Diablo 2. It is a little bit on the expensive side, just over $1,000, but I definitely think it's worth it for its portability, its ability to drive different types of headphones, especially those that are harder to drive. And the sound that comes out of this is just perfect. You get access to that nice bass as well as that detail retrieval. So with that, that does it for my iFi iCAN Phantom review. And I'll see you guys in the next video.